In this video, we will talk about the cash account setup process. We will look at the business trigger for the process, the data involved, the process and the idea screens, the output of the process, dependencies and exceptions if applicable. Regarding the trigger, we usually need to run this process when a new bank account has been opened, and we will be using this account for AP disbursements. So once we have the GL account created, from that point onward, we will need to do this setup, otherwise we won't be able to use that account in the AP module for disbursements. That is the most common trigger. Sometimes we have something special, say we need to create a new code to track special disbursement transactions such as credit card transactions, or to clear intercompany accounts, or something of that sort. But the most common trigger is a new bank account has been created, or we're going to track some petty cash and use that to pay certain transactions. At that point, we will need to run this process. Regarding the data involved, or what we need to be able to run this, we need master data, and in that case we need FQA elements. So that's basically the account and other elements that are required to track, say, the disbursements we're going to be doing with this new bank account. As for organizational data, we need the ledger ID. We do not need the entity, because the way this works, we set up the code and then the entity is inherited as transactions are done. So say we have one entity that uses this bank code, or multiple, it's going to use the same FQA, but the entity is going to vary depending on what entity or company code is used for the transactions. As for the process, we have to go to the AP module, user tables, and then account codes. Once we're in that screen, we'll select the ledger ID, then enter the code, assign the corresponding FQA elements to that code, and then save. At that point, we can use that code to set up bank codes. So we can reference this cash account code to bank codes after we have created them. So let's look at the process and the idea screens. So we go to the accounts payable module, AP module, go to utilities, then user tables, go to account codes, we'll click on add new FQA, we will select the ledger. We will enter the code which we will use to identify this cash account. We can then enter the FQA elements. In this case will be a null AFE, null cost center, and then the cash account, whatever it is, and then the other elements of the FQA. In this case, I'm assuming that all the other elements will be null, and I'll just use the account element. But there are cases where people use, say a net bill code or some other element also for this coding. At that point, I can save, and I will have a new cash account code set up that I can use in the bank code screen. If I go to the bank code screen and say I'm selecting creating a new bank code, I would go ahead and search for my new code here. So there, I have selected it, and once I start doing transactions with this bank code, I will be able to, the FQA that I have defined will be affected. Say when I do a disbursement, we're going to get a credit to that FQA that I defined in the account codes screen. Okay, so the output of this is a cash account code is saved and references specific FQA elements, and we can go ahead and run the create new bank code process, where we can reference the cash account code created. And then we can also, if needed for some reason, for existing bank codes, go ahead and select this cash account instead of some other cash account or cash account code that the existing bank code already used. As for exceptions, none are identified at this time. Thanks for viewing this video guide.